Hey kids, Pastor Tim here, just letting you know that through December 5th for our children's worship videos, we're actually going to be using videos from last year, which means you might recognize some familiar songs and even some familiar lessons. Well, we think that it's not going to take away at all from the fun and the exciting learning that we can do here at Children's Worship. You might actually pick up on something that you didn't pick up on last time. So with all that said, please sit back, relax, and enjoy today's children's worship video.
Good morning, boys and girls, and welcome to Children Worship. Today we're going to start off by singing the song Forever, because God is faithful forever, He is forever strong, and He's with us forever. Give thanks to the Lord, our God and King. His love endures forever. For He is good, He is above all things. His love endures forever. Sing praise, sing praise. With my hand and outstretched arm, His love endures forever. For the life that's been reborn, His love endures forever. Sing praise, sing praise, sing praise, sing praise. Forever God is faithful, forever God is strong, forever God is with us, forever, forever. From the rising to the setting sun, His love endures forever. And by the grace of God we will carry on. His love endures forever. Sing praise, sing praise, sing praise, sing praise. Forever God is faithful, forever God is strong, forever God is with us, forever, forever God is faithful, forever God is strong, forever God is with us, forever, Boys and girls, for our next song, we're going to sing How Great Is Our God. And the Wong family actually introduced us to the song a little bit more than a month ago. But this time we're going to add hand motions to the chorus, and it goes like this. How great is our God. This is how you sign God in sign language. Sing with me, how great is our God. And all will see how great is our God. The splendor of the King, clothed in majesty, let all the earth rejoice, all the earth rejoice. He wraps Himself in light, and darkness tries to our God. Boys and girls, for our last song, the lyrics are in the Bible, and it comes from the book of Joshua, chapter 1, verse 9, and it says, "Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be terrified, do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go." Now let's add hand motion to the song. Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be terrified, do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go.
Have I not commanded you, be strong and courageous? Do not be terrified, do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you
Wherever you go, wherever you go.
Have I not commanded you, be strong and courageous? Do not be terrified, do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you
Wherever you go, wherever you go.
Have I not commanded you, be strong and courageous? Do not be terrified, do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you
Wherever you go, wherever you
go.
go.
Have I not commanded you, be strong and courageous? Do not be terrified, do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go.
Wherever you go, wherever you go, wherever you go.
Woo!
Dear God, thank you for today. You are powerful. You are God, I'm out of words. Good morning, boys and girls. This is prayer time, and I am Teacher Henry. Well, has that ever happened to you before? You ran out of words to say when you pray? You can't think of the right words, or you just feel like praying the same thing every week? Well, if it has ever happened to you, know that it has happened to me before, actually quite often. It happens to adults too. Well, how would that get better? How would we ever know to pray better? Is it that when we get older, all of a sudden we would know how to pray better and know more words to say in our prayer? Well, not necessarily. You know, there's one sure way that would help us all pray better. You know what it is? And that is to know our God better. You see, God created the heavens and the earth. He created animals and us, humans. He's so powerful and wise that we humans, his creations, would never be able to know him very well, right? Well, no. God knows that we are not as wise as he is, so he helped us understand him better. He helped us to know him better by speaking his words into a book called, what is that book called? The Bible. That's right. God spoke his words, and those words were recorded in this book called the Bible. So when we study the Bible, we would learn more and more about him. Now you say, but I'm little. I can't even read yet. how do I read the Bible? Or maybe you can read, but you said, oh, I have looked at my parents' Bible. Those words are so difficult. I don't understand what they mean. Well, that's okay. There are many books written for children about the Bible. Let me show you the first one. My first read and learn book of prayers. This book is not about the Bible, but it's about prayers. So let's see. Let's see what it says here. Oh, it's a book that teaches us how to pray. Dear God, sometimes I'm tired. Sometimes I'm very sad, and other times I'm happy and feeling very glad. But you're always reaching with arms that stretch out wide to comfort me and hug me and hold me as your child. Now, why do I say that by knowing more about God would help us pray? So, let's take a look here. It says, Dear God, sometimes I'm tired, sometimes I'm very sad. Isn't that us sometimes? We don't feel like praying. So when you read about prayers in the Bible, it gives us ideas of what to pray. So now I can think about, oh yeah, God, sometimes I'm tired and I don't feel like praying. Please forgive me and give me energy. Now, let's look at another page. How about this one? Dear God, please show me, dear God, what you want me to do. Well, yeah, don't we always ask God to do things for us? Do we think about what God may want us to do? Well, so this gives me an idea. And I'm going to pray, God, please show me what you want me to do. Now look at one last example. This is called a Devotions for Kids 365. Means each day you would read a page, which is very short. So let's take this page as an example. It says, have courage. Don't be terrified or discouraged. I am with you wherever you go. Now what I want you to think about is, when can you read about the Bible or read one of your children's Bible book or prayer book? Would it be before bedtime? Would it be 3 times a week? Would it be every night before you sleep? That's what I'd like you to discuss with your siblings or with your parents. When do you think you will find time to study about the Bible, to know more about God? Now hit pause and discuss. So what did you decide? That you would read the Bible or a children's Bible book once a week, 3 times a week, every night before you go to bed? Well, whatever you decide, I would like you to pray about that in your ACTS prayer right now. So maybe under supplication, we can now pray that, God, I have decided to try to know more about you by reading the Bible once a week or every night or 3 times a week. Please give me the energy and please remind me to do that. If you already have some books at home, you can say, God, thank you for giving me these precious books. And now I want to pray that you would teach me about you when I read them. Right? So you see, as you read more about them, as you think about the Bible and read more about it, it would help you with your prayers. So now let's pause and do your ACTS and think about what you have just decided to do to learn more about God. And let's write it down in your ACTS. Now let's pause and do it. Okay, now is prayer time. I would like you to find a partner, whether it be your sibling or one of your parents or both of your parents, and pray with them now.
Oh, finally done with all the work. Yay! Okay, time for a snack. What can I have? Ooh, a chocolate bar. That's my favorite. It's gonna taste so good. Except Mom said candy bars are bad for me. It's unhealthy and it's gonna rot my teeth. I guess I could have an apple, but it's so boring. Why does it have to be so hard, like I'm fighting a battle or something? Ugh, forget it. Maybe I should find something to do. Ooh, I can play video game. Yay! Video games, another one of my favorite. Yeah. Except Daddy said I shouldn't play so much video game because it will rot my brain and my eyes. And then he said I should read a book instead, and the best book is to read the Bible. But I don't want to read. It's so boring. Like I'm fighting a battle inside myself. Ugh. Hey guys, this is Teacher Anna. Welcome to worship. So what do you think about the scenario? Do you feel like the character in the scenario? Do you have things in your life that you feel like it's so hard to do the right thing? It's almost like you're fighting a battle within yourself. Let's have you share one or two of those things with those around you. If you're by yourself, you can write it down in your prayer journal. Welcome back, guys. Today we're starting a new book. It's the book of Joshua. It's full of exciting events that we're going to learn a lot about. But before we start our event today, I want to give you some background so you will understand the importance of the event today. Now remember, in the book of Exodus, we learned that God has saved the Israelites. He brought them out of Egypt, out of slavery, and God promised to give them a good land to be their home forever. However, before they got into the land, they sent 12 spies, 12 men to go into the promised land to see what the promised land is like and what the people living there were like. And when they come back, 10 of those 10 men believe what they think they saw and said, we can't go in there. Even though God said he's going to give us the land, those people are big and strong. They're going to squish us like ants. We can't go. But the other 2 men, and one of them is Joshua, and he said, no, we should not believe what we think we see. We should believe what God said. God is powerful and he's with us. If he said he's going to give us the land, we will have the land. But too bad, the rest of the Israelites chose to believe the 10 men and they didn't want to go. So God gave them the consequence of not believing in him, which is they had to wander in the wilderness for 40 years. And that's where the story, the event, Bible event we're reading about starts today. It's 40 years later, and now Joshua is no longer a young man, but he has learned from Moses, and he assisted Moses in the 40 years in the wilderness. And now God gave Joshua and the Israelites, the new generation of Israelites, the command that he gave to their ancestor, the same command, and go and take the promised land. Let's read the scripture together. Joshua chapter 1, verse 1 to 2 and 6 to 9. After the death of Moses, the servant of the Lord said to Joshua, son of Nun, Moses' aide, Moses, my servant, is dead. Now then, you and all these people, get ready to cross the Jordan River into the land I'm about to give to them, to the Israelites. Be strong and courageous, because you will lead these people to inherit the land I swore to their ancestor to give them. Be strong and very courageous. Be careful to obey all the law my servant Moses gave you. Do not turn from it to the right or to the left, that you may be successful wherever you go. Keep the book of law always on your lip. Meditate on it day and night, so that you may be careful to do everything written in it. Then you will be prosperous and successful. Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. Okay, so what do you think about the passage? What can we learn from this passage? Well, here is the big idea of today's lesson, and we're going to memorize it using some hand motions. And here it is. Because God is with us, we can be strong and courageous in doing the right thing. Again, it is because God is with us, we can be strong and courageous in doing the right thing. So now I want you to practice a few times with those around you or just by yourself. Both ways are fine. I'm going to give you a minute to memorize it. Okay, so what do you think about the passage? What can we learn from this passage? Well, there are at least 3 things that we can learn from the passage. Number 1, see that when God gave the command to the people, it wasn't just for Joshua, even though he's the main character. Because God said, you and all these people. So it's not just the leader who needs to be strong and courageous, but everybody, all the Israelites, needs to get ready and be strong and courageous. So the first thing is, God commands everyone to be strong and courageous. The second thing that we can learn from this passage is that how can they be strong and courageous? Well, there are at least 2 things that God gave them so they can be strong and courageous. The first thing is that God said, I will go with you wherever you go. Well, how does that help them be strong and courageous? Imagine this. If you have a powerful and wise and amazing God with you, and then you run into danger or trouble, God's going to protect you and take care of you so that you can be strong and courageous and not afraid or discouraged, right? So the first thing that God gave the Israelites to help them be strong and courageous is that God will be with them and protect them. The second thing that God gave the Israelites so they can be strong and courageous is His Word. God said, be careful to do the things in the book of the law that I have commanded you. Don't turn to the right and don't turn to the left. Focus on the book of the law. So that means don't believe what you think you see, like the Israelites did, and don't be afraid of what other people might say or do, but focus on the right thing that God said to do. Focus on these things that God said is right and is good and is true. Do those things so that you will be strong and courageous. You will not be tempted by what you think you see, and you will not be pushed over by the things that other people might say or do. And you can be strong and courageous. So, first thing we learn from this passage is that God's command was for everybody to be strong and courageous. And God go wherever they go and give them the right things to do, the law, book of the law, so that they can stand firm, be strong and courageous. And the third thing that we can learn is that they need to do something too. God has done his part. God said he will go everywhere with them and give them the book of the law. But the Israelites need to choose to be strong and courageous, need to focus on what God said is right. So, these are the three things that we can learn from this passage. 1, God's command was for everyone to be strong and courageous. 2, God gave them 2 things. 1, he will go wherever they go. And 2, God told them what is the right thing to do. And then number 3, they need to partner with God. They need to choose to be strong and courageous by doing what God said. So now that we have gone through the 3 things that we can learn from the passage, what do? Well, here's the thing. Even though in that event, the command was given to the Israelites in the days of Joshua, God also gave the same command to us. Because in the book of Ephesians, when Paul was writing the letter to the church, which is all the people who believe in Jesus Christ, he said in chapter 6, verse 10, "Be strong in the Lord." Doesn't that sound very similar? That's right. God wants us to be strong and courageous too. Even though we're not fighting the battle out there in the promised land, we have a battle inside of us. Remember in the beginning when I asked you to share? Is there anything that you struggle to do the right thing instead of what you feel like doing, as if you were fighting a battle inside you? That's right. We have a battle of our own. And God commands us to be strong and courageous. Focus on the things that God said is good and right in the Bible, and don't turn to the right, don't turn to the left. Focus on doing that so that you can be strong and courageous. Okay, guys, to wrap up today's lesson, let's review our big idea. And that is, because God is with us, we can be strong and courageous in doing the right thing. Often, it is like we have a battle in our heart. We know what the right thing to do is, but we don't feel like doing it. And in this battle, how can we be strong and courageous? That's right. We need to focus on what God says is the right and good thing to do in the Bible. And we read about it, we think about it, and we get down and do it. Because this strong and courageous is not just for any old thing. It's not about going on a roller coaster, or it's not about being courageous and strong and doing something that is not good. This strong and courageous is for doing the right thing that God tells us to do. So remember, because God is with us, we can be strong and courageous. Bye, I'll see you next week.